People are talking about the recent BTS concert, and many are claiming that it was very empty. People are blaming V for a poor performance and vocals, and then we have the tour being talked about in question, specifically on specific dates and why they can't perform in certain places. So you don't business, they've decided, let's get into it. The recent BTS tour has been talked about, and many people are asking why certain cities are not doing a show. Many people have noted that specific places like India have streamed and garnered so many views for BTS, yet the boys of the label have chosen not to hit that city. And of course, that can be a little bit messed up because there's a lot of people who are waiting to see the show, and clearly the demand is there. And it feels like they're not being rewarded for it because of where they live. There are, of course, some people who would fly out to the nearest city to see BTS, but there are, of course, a lot of people who can't afford to do that, and the tickets on their own are already really expensive, so they can't afford to also have flights and hotels on top of that. Some people have twisted this to say that the label and BTS hates their Indian fans and would never reward them by allowing to have a show there. Now, I don't know if what I'm about to say is going to make people feel any better, but it's business. It's literally nothing personal. And of course, the boys have nothing against the people who live in India, but there are so many reasons as to why specifically that area is a very difficult place for a lot of stars to perform. BTS is at a certain level at this point. They can't put on a show without meeting a specific level. And there are definitely a lot of people in India who would be happy if the boys sat on a chair and stage and strummed a guitar and sang through their set. That's just not the type of show that the BTS members want to put on though, and they don't want a tour associated with that stuff, right? Not that it's bad, but they want people to see the show as dancing with a lot of energy and very high production. And the bottom line is, when a celebrity has a concert and a lot of those clips go viral, if people see BTS sitting on their butts streaming a guitar, they're going to think, oh, they have lazy concerts. It's also going to put the entire tour in jeopardy, with some people being like, well, if I'm going to go, am I going to get a full production, or am I just going to get people sitting there? So instead of just kind of putting that up in the air and making people question what type of show they might get, they're just going to put on a show that's uniform, and they're not going to put on shows that doesn't meet the standard they want it to meet. On top of that, there's only a few infrastructures in India that can support a full stadium tour like what BTS is doing. And then on top of that, between these schedules and between all of this stuff, it's reported by some news sites that it would cost more for BTS to put on a show than the money that they would generate from that show. It's also interesting, right? Because not every single country can change the same amount of money for a concert ticket. So obviously here in the US, let's say you charge a couple hundred for it, but if you go to a country with a lower GDP, you can't charge that same amount. Otherwise, literally no one will buy it, and you're charging well above market value in that area, which could very well be illegal in those countries. I don't know the specific GDPs or the specific market values in India, but it is predicted that it would actually cost BTS and the label a lot more to put on a show there, especially at the level that they want it to be put on. Because we know BTS loves to have cranes, they love to have big sets and all those things. So when I say it's business, I mean it. It's business. There's no racism, there's no hating a specific nation, there's no discrimination. It's literally just because they can't afford to put on a show there. The recent BTS concert was held in Gwanghwamun Square and garnered a lot of controversy. One of the first pieces of controversy was V allegedly not singing or not being up to par with what most people were expecting, I suppose. There was a moment in which he was using head voice or falsetto to sing a particular line, and some people were saying that it sounded really bad and that there was a lot of commotion in the city, only for V to perform like this, with emergency alerts literally going off from 7 a.m. all the way to 9 p.m., allegedly from some of these people, to thousands of police officers allegedly swarming the area to make sure that everything is safe, even traffic control, and certain areas being blocked off. And of course, then with all that being done, people then would be upset if BTS did not perform with their all. I listened to the clip. As far as I'm aware, I'm not a professional musician or anything like that, but when I listened to it, he sounded on key. And this is something that's interesting, right? Because I've seen a lot of the K-pop community do this over and over again, where if someone is off key, but they sound pretty while doing it, they're considered fine. It won't be a big deal. No one cares. But the moment it doesn't sound absolutely perfect, like in the most beautiful sound you've ever heard, but it's on key, it's considered bad. And that's just not what's true, I think. Because as long as you're on key, you're doing a great job singing, because it's tough to be on key. It's not an easy thing. All of the boys can sing. Let's stop with the they can't sing, because they literally would not have been able to debut if they can't sing. Literally no K-pop star can't sing. All of them can. And also they wouldn't have been able to garner a fan base to begin with if they couldn't sing. Like, I understand that most people outside the community think that the BTS fans are stupid or we're just all really dumb, but we would not be fans of BTS if they did not make good music. Like if you're just starting to get into an artist, which we were all there at some point, but they're not good at anything, why would you be fans of them at all? You would maybe watch one thing of them and realize, oh wow, they're really bad, and then move on. There has to be something that an artist does to have a large fan base. People have to like them or like something about them. But above all else, actual musicians or singers who are listening to this and seeing people, specifically V, getting ridiculed for his head voice is really disheartening for a lot of singers. It's really hard hard for men to sing in that register area. It's not easy, and most people that I've heard would prefer not to use falsetto or head voice because they say that they can't hear it properly when they use that register. Like they can't hear if they're on key or not, or if they're hitting that note properly. And then on top of that, some people's head voice or falsetto just doesn't sound as full as they would like it. It's like so weak and it's very whispery and very quiet. But you can hear V and his voice very clearly through the mic, and his falsetto is really strong. That to me is a sign of a really good singer, and that means he's breathing properly, he can hear himself extremely properly, and he's able to hit the notes. This is something that should be praised, not looked at and say, oh, he can't sing. I will let you know most singers can't do what he did. And I don't really see anyone saying this about V. They're just either saying, well, let's not ridicule him for it, or they're dissing another celebrity, which at least tells me in the BTS community, the people who are fans, they also believe that if it doesn't sound pretty, then it's not good, which is not true. People were discussing the capacity at the recent BTS concert in Gwanghwamun Square. This was a concert that was contributed by the label and by the government. So the government, I think, issued most of the police officers that were there, sponsored it to a certain degree, and then of course allowed BTS to use the public area to perform. This was made to be a huge deal by a lot of government officials, with many predicting as much as 260,000 people to show up. That was the number that I was seeing in a lot of press, and there were a lot of police officers that were there to handle that amount of people specifically. A different number was predicted by Hive, which was around 100,000, but it was believed allegedly that the amount of people that actually showed up was closer to 46,000. I don't know if that's true, as I was not there, but this is what a lot of people are saying, and people are saying that BTS, their popularity is over. This is also just one city, so keep in mind, and a lot of people could have been really annoyed at all of the alerts the government was putting out, and some people may have just been lesser hardcore fans, maybe just didn't attend. With that said, of course, there were a lot of people that were saying, oh, all of the commotion just for only that many people to show up, as if that's a little amount of people to show up. Now, you have to keep in mind, at least in my opinion, BTS has been out of the spotlight for about 4 years or so, and quite frankly, there really wasn't that much information on what they can do and how they can promote themselves going forward. And by that I mean like data to extract on what their next moves are going to be. A lot of artists look at old data to figure out what their next moves are going to be. 4 years is a long time. I mean, when a celebrity steps away for a month, a lot can change nowadays, and there's just not enough information on how to promote BTS and what to do, which could be a reason why we didn't see a huge rollout for this comeback. I'm not sure. There's a conspiracy or an alleged theory, if you will, but with that said, since they've been out of the spotlight for a really long time, it means now, as they're coming back, they're going to have to rebuild. They're going to have to rebuild that data. They're going to have to rebuild a lot of the stuff that they had initially acquired prior to going to the military. I mean, this was the whole reason why they didn't want to go to the military in the first place, at least from what I gathered. They seemed okay with going, but obviously you could tell that they wanted to stay and perform. That's their passion, right? So is their peak over? I don't know. I would say fame nowadays is interesting because people can fade in and out, and they can come back and still make it big. It just requires a lot more work. This is because of the introduction of social media and people being able to post and go viral anytime they want to, and they can fade away for a little bit and then post again and go viral again. So because of that, I think BTS will be just as big as they used to be, if not bigger, because once they start over and start going viral again, which they already have, then we'll start to see them everywhere. That of course means they'll get a bigger budget and all that stuff next time. We also don't know how big of a budget they got this time, which is an interesting point to bring up. I don't know, and I don't know if anyone knows what their budget was, but if it was a lot smaller than what they normally get, that might be a reason why the rollout was a little bit more quiet, if you will. But with that said, Swim in the music video did really well. The concert tickets are selling really well. Everything's doing really well, and they don't have to rebuild. They don't have to rebuild to the extent where they're starting from nothing. If anything, I really do think in a month or two, they're just going to be everywhere again. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for the lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.